Ladies and gentlemen, I have made two attempts to do this story and I have been badly disrupted twice. So hopefully it'll work out this time. Thank you, Joshua Hamilton, for sending me this story. Um, I'm not surprised that this issue was coming out of Missouri. Missouri is notorious for being one of the most racist states in the Union. Back in the 80s, my family had a family reunion in Missouri. They had booked this hotel down there in advance. When they got there, I wasn't there at the time. When they got down to Missouri to start the family reunion, the hotel would not let them check in because they were Black. This was the 80s, ladies and gentlemen, the 80s when this happened in Missouri. So they ended up going to a whole different hotel and, and then they had the family reunion, but that is what happened. They could not stay at the hotel they booked. And I believe it was a Holiday Inn down there. And they could not stay there because they were Black in the 80s. So you can imagine how I'm not surprised that these things are still going on down in Missouri. So what they're pretty much saying, the article is saying overall, you cannot file any discrimination or harassment suit against the state of Missouri unless you can prove it in writing. And it's not like somebody is going to write down, this person is a nigger and I don't like them and I just want them out of my life. Nobody's going to write that down. And when we're harassed, how many times have a cop that we clearly know are harassing you because of race are going to put it in writing? None of them do that. We know that. This is outrageous that they can even believe that it's possible for that to even happen. This is just another way of potentially blocking mainly us from filing any type of discrimination suit against the state of Missouri. And if you remember, during the Ferguson killing of Mike Brown down in Missouri, also what came out is how they were pulling over the Black residents, fining them, dragging them into court, and jailing them, and also giving all these traffic tickets exclusively to Black residents in order to fund and pay for the local government salaries, the cops, the mayor, the council people. That's how they got their money, to pay their salaries through the Black citizens. And this happened in Missouri. So no one should be shocked that this new bill that they have, you can only file if you have written proof that you were discriminated against. Come on. So I'm going to go ahead and play the video. The video pretty much covers what the article says.
We're used to getting warnings about traveling overseas, but this summer the NAACP put out an extraordinary warning about travel here at home in Missouri. It advises extreme caution, saying travelers could be subject to discrimination and harassment. Jerika Duncan now on what's behind the warning.
They are legalizing discrimination in the state of Missouri.
Attorney Nimrod Chappell Jr. is the president of the NAACP in Missouri. He says a bill recently signed into law by Republican Governor Eric Greitens is so dangerous, Chappell has a name for it.
The Jim Crow bill, because in the eyes of the NAACP, that's what it was breathing life into.
Currently, you can file a discrimination claim in the state of Missouri if things like race, religion, and gender are a contributing factor to discrimination. But later this month, alleged victims of discrimination would have to prove it as the motivating factor And Chappell says that's extremely hard to do.
You would think that the best evidence would be like a memo, right? We discriminated against so-and-so because they are who they are. Nobody writes memos, or when they do, it's so rare. And then getting that kind of evidence can be very, very difficult.
It is wrong. It is flat out wrong. 64-year-old Pat Roe Kerr sued the state of Missouri in 2010 for sex and age discrimination. Last year, a jury awarded her nearly $3 million. Now she's concerned the new law will make lawsuits like hers tougher to file and send the wrong message.
This is just another example of not being progressive. And if we want to be a progressive Missouri, why are we going backwards?
Governor Eric Greitens calls the legislation common sense reform and says the motivating factor standard is currently used by the Equal Opportunities Commission. Meanwhile, the NAACP says it will continue to raise awareness through its travel advisory. Anthony?
Jerika Duncan reporting from Jefferson City tonight.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. So if you get discriminated against or harassed in the state of Missouri, you are going to have to prove it. Now, I don't know about you, but like I said, you ever see a cop write a memo that they admit they roughed you up because you were black? Nobody does that. And this guy, this Republican, knows that. He knows it. He's taking a page from Jim Crow and he's trying to enforce it today. But they've already signed this into law. So those of you in Missouri, please be careful in your travels, because this is only going to be a motivator for the cops to further harass you and do everything to you, break the law, and there's no recourse you will have with this law in effect. Not to mention the fact that this is going on all across the country. We know that for centuries, the Caucasoids will say one thing and then do something completely racist to you. We've seen this all throughout our lives. Nothing has changed. We're just in a different era, but it's all the same. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And if you can donate to my channel, ladies and gentlemen, please do. Peace, family.